Welcome back to my channel today's. We explore the value of specific coins, the top 4 most valuable wheat penny coin value in today's market. So let's get started. First up, the 1952 S penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, and in that year the S Mint produced about 137,800,004 coins. Because that is a relatively large mintage, this coin in circulated condition is not especially rare. Many have survived, though most show wear. When I say normal dirty or circulated, I mean a coin that's been in general use for decades. The surfaces are discolored, possibly with a dark patina or toning. Details like Lincoln's hair, cheek, or beard are worn and lacking sharpness. The rims may be flattened. Small scratches or contact marks are present, and grime or oxidation may obscure parts of the design. The date and the S Mint mark should still be readable, albeit faint in many spots. Because condition is paramount in coin collecting, once a coin shows circulation wear, its value tends to fall significantly compared to uncirculated examples. Let's look at published value guides and see where a dirty 1952 S fits. That gives a useful benchmark for a mid-level circulated piece. On the same site, the upper bound for an uncirculated or mint state 1952 S is listed at 1836 plus under ideal conditions. Another source, All Coin Values, gives a grading scale. For a 1952 S in the VG8 to XF40 range, which are worn to lightly worn grades, values run roughly 0.05 to 0.15, with AU58 examples, about uncirculated, around 0.025. All coin values. Comcoin Value Checker offers another useful chart. It lists for 1952 S that in the good grade, value is around 0.23, and in fine up to 0.78. In AU grade, about $2, and for MS, mint state, up to 1367 for red examples in ideal cases. But note, their good and fine values likely assume somewhat better condition for those categories than what I'm calling dirty. One more perspective. Another resource lists a value band for 1952 S in circulation as 0.223 up to 452, depending heavily on condition, strike quality, and color. That is a broad range, and the high end would only apply to coins in excellent uncirculated or near uncirculated condition. Putting all that together, for a genuinely dirty, circulated 1952 S penny, the realistic value today is most likely between 0.05 and 0.25. Many coins will cluster toward the lower end of that range, perhaps around 0.10 to 0.15, particularly for well-worn examples in average circulation. If the coin has lighter wear, more legible details, better color, some remaining red or red-brown, and fewer blemishes, you might push into the 0.25 zone. As a concrete illustration, imagine you have a 1952 S that is noticeably worn. The date and S are visible but worn. Lincoln's features are flattened, and the reverse wheat stalks near the rims are soft. The surfaces show toning and some corrosion spots. In that condition, many buyers or dealers would offer around 10 to 20 cents. If you got lucky with a somewhat better specimen of the same general wear, perhaps 0.25 might be offered. But reaching $0.50 would be very unlikely unless the coin is at the top end of circulated condition with strong eye appeal. There are a few caveats. If your coin shows a recognized mint error or a distinct variety, for instance, a repunched S or doubling, that is still visible despite wear, that could add a premium. But for many dirty coins, errors are much harder to detect and often don't command large premiums unless clearly identifiable. Also, avoid cleaning the coin aggressively. Many collectors will reduce value if a coin has been improperly cleaned, scrubbed, or polished, because it damages original surfaces. In contrast, the most valuable 1952 S pennies are those in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially red examples, which have sometimes sold in the range of tens to over $100. But those are far from our focus here. We're dealing with circulated worn pieces. In summary, a 1952 wheat penny in normal, dirty circulated condition is not a high-value coin. You should expect a value in the 2.9 million range under typical circumstances, with $2.8 million being a reasonable average for many examples. Next up, the 1956 wheat penny in extra fine condition, and discuss what that coin could be worth in today's United States market in dollars. We will go through what extra fine means in numismatic grading, what factors affect value published pricing, references, and what a reasonable seller might expect to receive by way of compensation. First, some context. The 1956 wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint, with a very large mintage of over 1 billion coins. Because so many of these were produced, surviving specimens in circulated condition are common. This abundance means that unless a coin is in a relatively high grade or shows a desirable specialty or error, its value tends to remain modest. Now let us define extra fine. In coin grading, the term extra fine, often shortened to XF or EF, refers to a high circulated grade. In that condition, the coin exhibits moderate wear, but retains most of its design detail. For the 1956 wheat penny, an extra fine example would show some flattening on Lincoln's cheek, hairlines, and coat folds, but the overall profile would remain distinct. The inscriptions, such as "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," would still be legible and relatively sharp. On the reverse, the wheat stalks would hold much of their detail, though tips may show wear, and the rim would remain intact without major damage. The surfaces might display minor contact marks, light abrasions or toning, but nothing severe or destructive. In some, an extra fine 1956 penny appears as a pleasing, circulated coin. Rather than a pristine mint specimen to arrive at an estimate of market value, we turn to price guides and comparative evidence. One useful source lists the 1956 in extra fine at around 14 cents. That suggests a modest premium over average circulated grades. Another catalog values the same coin in extremely fine, or XF, at around 13 cents, indicating close agreement across reference works. A third source in grading tables lists the 1956 XF at about 10 cents, suggesting that more conservative estimates sometimes prevail. Taken together, these references suggest that a typical extra fine 1956 wheat penny is likely to be valued in the range from 10 to 14 cents. To give further perspective, a general listing for 1956 wheat pennies in circulated condition places them from roughly 15 cents upward in better grades. While that baseline includes a mixture of wear levels, it tells us that extra fine examples stand near the upper tier of circulated specimens, albeit still far from uncirculated territories. Thus, for our extra fine coin, one might reasonably expect something slightly above common circulated coins, but not dramatically higher. Let us imagine an actual case. Suppose you have a 1956 wheat penny with rims fully intact, design features well preserved, though with softening on high points and only light abrasions. The wheat stalks remain visible, and the tone is pleasing without major spots. In that scenario, a buyer or dealer might offer somewhere between 12 and 15 cents. Depending on strike quality toning and general eye appeal, a particularly attractive example might attract an offer as high as 20 cents. But that would be optimistic. In most markets, coins of that circulated grades seldom exceed that threshold unless they display something extra special. One important factor that can significantly affect value is the presence of recognized mint mark variations or errors. For the 1956 there is a known overshadow mint mark variety in which the D-mint mark was repunched and leaves a visible shadow. Under extra fine conditions, such an error could attract a premium over the baseline value. In some guides, that variety is listed at considerably higher levels, though in circulated grades, the premium may still be limited unless the error is clearly visible. Without such error features, the base XF valuation remains the principal guide. It is also crucial to consider that published catalog values are reference points rather than guarantees. Actual sale prices depend on buyer demand, coin appearance, sharpness, strike quality, and the venue of sale. For two coins, both graded XF, their prices may differ depending on subtle differences in toning luster or appeal. A coin sold in an online auction might fetch a different price than one sold in a local coin shop or in a private transaction. Cost factors such as grading service fees or buyer premiums also reduce what a seller nets, even if the gross sale price matches a catalog value. Furthermore, coins that have been cleaned abrasively, scratched, or otherwise damaged generally lose value relative to unaltered coins. Even a coin that qualifies as extra fine in wear may be penalized by surface detriments. A clean but harshly scrubbed surface may reduce collector interest significantly. In buying or selling, one should always check for original surfaces and avoid coins that show signs of improper cleaning. To summarize the story, the most valuable 1956 D wheat pennies are those in uncirculated gem or error varieties. But, for a typical example in extra fine condition, the realistic value today is modest. Based on multiple pricing sources, a range of about 10 to 14 cents is reasonable for a well-preserved coin in that grade. With especially pleasing examples or favorable strike and appearance, some buyers might stretch toward 15 or 20 cents. But that would be exceptional, without a recognized error or outstanding eye appeal. The XF coin rarely commands more than that. In any case, understanding that circulated coins, even high circulated grades, carry only modest premiums is key. If you like, I can craft a narration version with timestamps or help you search recent auction sales of 1956 DXF pennies to refine this estimate further. Next up, the 1966 Lincoln penny minted in Philadelphia, focusing on its worth in extra fine condition in today's market. The 1966 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series and holds significance for collectors due to its historical context and unique characteristics. The 1966 Lincoln penny was produced in large quantities, with over 2.1 billion coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint. This high mintage contributes to the coin's commonality, making it less rare compared to other years in the series. However, its value can vary depending on its condition and specific attributes. In numismatic grading, coins are assessed based on their wear and preservation. An extra fine, XF grade, indicates that the coin has seen some circulation but retains sharp details and minimal wear. For the 1966 Lincoln penny, an extra fine example would exhibit well-defined features, such as Lincoln's portrait and the inscriptions on the reverse, with only slight signs of wear on the highest points. The value of a 1966 Lincoln penny in extra fine condition is influenced by several factors. While the coin is relatively common, its value can be affected by demand among collectors, the presence of any unique characteristics, and the overall market trends for similar coins. In general, a 1966 Lincoln penny in extra fine condition may be worth a few cents above its face value. It's important to note that while the coin is not considered rare, its value can still be appealing to collectors seeking to complete their sets or acquire coins from specific years. Collectors often look for coins with minimal wear, clear details, and attractive luster. A well-preserved 1966 Lincoln penny in extra fine condition can be a desirable addition to a collection, even if its monetary value is modest. It's also worth mentioning that the 1966 penny was minted in Philadelphia, and coins from this mint typically do not bear a mint mark. This absence of a mint mark is standard for Philadelphia minted coins from this era and does not impact the coin's value. In summary, while the 1966 Lincoln penny in extra fine condition is not considered rare, it holds value for collectors due to its historical significance and the quality of its preservation. Its worth in today's market is modest, but can vary based on condition and collector demand. If you come across a 1966 Lincoln penny in extra fine condition, it may be a worthwhile addition to your collection, offering both historical interest and aesthetic appeal. Next up, the 1920 wheat penny without a mint mark, minted in Philadelphia, is one of the most common coins in the U.S. coinage series. Despite its high mintage of over 310 million, its value varies significantly based on its condition, with coins in average circulated condition being worth modest amounts. In today's market, a 1920 wheat penny in average circulated condition, often referred to as good or very good, typically holds a value ranging from 10 to 35 cents. This valuation reflects the coin's widespread availability and the wear it has endured over the decades. Coins in these conditions exhibit significant signs of circulation, including flattened details and substantial wear on the design elements. As the coin's condition improves, so does its value. For instance, a 1920 wheat penny in fine condition, where the design is still discernible but shows moderate wear, can be valued between 50 cents to $1. As the grade progresses to very fine and extremely fine, with sharper details and less wear, the value can increase to $2 to $3 and possibly higher, depending on the specific characteristics and demand among collectors. The most significant increase in value occurs when the coin reaches uncirculated or mint state grades. These coins exhibit no signs of wear, with full details and original luster intact. A 1920 wheat penny in mint state 60 MS60 condition can be worth around $12, while higher grades like MS65 can fetch up to $60. Exceptional examples in MS67 grade have been known to sell for over $6,000, though such specimens are exceedingly rare. It's important to note that the presence of a mint mark can also influence a coin's value. While the 1920 Philadelphia mint coins lack a mint mark, those minted in Denver, denoted by a D, or San Francisco S, are less common and can be more valuable, especially in higher grades. Collectors and enthusiasts interested in determining the value of their 1920 wheat penny should consider its condition and compare it to established grading standards. Professional grading services can provide an official assessment, which can be beneficial for those looking to buy, sell, or insure their coins. In summary, while a 1920 wheat penny without a mint mark in average circulated condition holds modest value, its worth can increase substantially with better preservation and higher grades. Collectors should assess their coins carefully, considering factors like wear, detail retention, and overall appearance to determine their potential value in today's market. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you, and next time, happy collecting.